United agenda. For some reason, I'm all in my own for the moment, but that won't stop us talking about the Man United news. Will need your loving ears to help me with. Oh, there we are, Mr. Yavavor.
How you doing? Sorry, I'm really just coming in from the dogs. I had to walk the dogs.
Worries.
What's happening?
We are live here on the Man United agenda.
Hello.
We are on the road to 4K. If we do get there before the first game of the season, one of you will get a Man United shirt, home away, third choice, or keeper shirt of your choice. And that's there for ye. And if you have a couple of bars of Freddo money in your pocket, princely sum of a quid, you have a chance to get a Robson jersey authenticated and signed. So please do consider helping out the channel, especially with likes and subscribes. It is very much free to do. But you are welcome here to this Wednesday edition of the Man United agenda. I've just spent the last hour or so talking to Tottenham about their fortunes and their transfers. And would you believe it, Yava? They're more pessimistic than we are.
What pessimistic about?
Their club's ability to do business.
They've got issues with Daniel Levy, haven't they? Same way we've got issues with Glazers. So the fans are always complaining about that. But I think Daniel Levy's done a good job for them. He's been consistent. They've got a new stadium. We're trying to get a new stadium. It's a great stadium, by the way. My flatmate was there today filming for some football. It's a series, a film or a series about England players. So Southgate's in it, and all these, not actors playing these footballers. But it's a beautiful stadium. We went there, been there a couple of times. It's so nice. It's like brand new, spanking new. Daniel Levy's done a good job. And no matter what Spurs fans say, I know there's so many parallels, isn't there? Their rivals are Arsenal, who are doing much better and actually, competing. But they've won a trophy now. Our rivals are Man City, who are doing much better than us for the last 10 years or so. So there's definitely similarity between the fan bases in being disappointed with the owners and the progress of the club. But this is how it goes, isn't it? I mean, it spins in roundabouts. Tottenham maybe are on the up now. They've got a new manager, Thomas Frank, and he would be a bit more complete opposite to their previous manager. And I think he'd be a bit more conservative and get better results in long term. So, be interesting to see how they get on. What's the feel from you regarding Spurs?
Well, I think other than Newcastle, that probably had the worst transfer window of any of the Champions League clubs. I think they have problems up top like we did in terms of getting goals. They probably could do an upgrade at goalkeeper if you're to take them seriously as well, in terms of how they feel about Vicario. And then the midfield, they've got a couple of nice midfielders, but I'd imagine, the number of midfielders that they have is probably a concern for them, given the quantum of high-level games they're going to play. But we're not here to talk about Tottenham today. We're here to talk about the great club that is Manchester United. And it seems like the club was listening to a pessimistic rebel yesterday, because I didn't believe that they'd go out there and get a deal done for either Šeško or Ollie Watkins. But they said, Rebel, you doubting Thomas, you. We're sending a secret delegation over to Germany. They've been quietly going about their work for the last 24, 48 hours. And now we have reliable sources like David Ornstein telling us Manchester United are very much in the driving seat to get the signature of Benjamin Šeško. This will be a complete overhaul of that front three from last year. And it kind of makes you wonder, what else have they got under their caps? Because there's other rumours that we'll be getting into. But it does seem, Yaba, that Benjamin Šeško is the only option now that Manchester United are pursuing up front. They've listened to Vival and they have been going about their work. Are you excited that he's coming in? And I suppose to double barrel the question, what does this mean for Rasmus Højlund?
Well, Yeah, I think it's good movements that we're making. It's nice to see. I think most of the fan base will be impressed with the way we're moving. Got 2 good signings in already, and now we're going for a third sort of a forward. And the main guy, which should be Šeško, who's the guy signed with scoring goals, you know. And what he gives us is something we haven't had for a long time. We've had Rashford, we've had Martial, we've had Greenwood, and we've had Weghorst and players like that. But this guy is complete forward. He's tall, strong. He can score goals with his head in the 6-yard box. He can score both feet. He's a presence as well. And in this day and age, with playing 1 striker up front, there's no more with his 2 up front. You need a guy who can be a complete player in that role, and he sort of ticks the boxes with his physical attributes. You know, so I'm really impressed that we can actually go out there and attract someone like that, considering we're not in any European competition. It's based just on our name, and it seems to me like he had his head turned and he wants to play for Man United. I know he's linked with Arsenal prior to that, but that's gone down and dusted. He's not going there. He could be coming to us, and it'd be a scoop. It'd be a really good scoop. So I always say to people, just be patient and let's see how we're moving. And even like 24 hours ago when we were on the show, there was still doubt, wasn't there, from yourself and people in the comments about whether we can do it. And I understand that because based on the history of the club and the recent history, that we're not really making good moves. So it's really good to see that we're making positive moves in the transfer market and going for players that could be maybe one or first or second choice signings. Regarding Rasmus Højlund, I think he should hang around and fight for his place. He offers us something slightly different. He's the sort of guy you can bring on late in the game and make him do the donkey work, you know, and that's what he's good at. Or it can give him competition, have someone in and around his age who he probably thinks, you know, what have you done? I played in the Serie A and I played in the Premier League and I'm an international. You know, he probably thinks he could, you know, try and test him. And it's good for competition. So it's good for the squad if we keep the players there. But I know a lot of people will be saying Rasmus has to go. But I'm not desperate for him to leave. I just think we need to keep a strong squad and push for every game this season so we can bring players, you know, give Šeško 60 minutes, bring on Rasmus or Xerxes, and depending on what circumstances are. And, you know, you've got 2 different players there with 2 different set of attributes. And it makes for a good watch, you know, a good management. So, yeah, I'm all for the squad depth. And I'm really excited about this signing.
Yeah, just before I get my 2 cents on it, we deserve better. It's a gunmetal green Kerry GA top is what this is. So if you look on the Kerry GA store, you'll be able to find it if you do fancy getting one for yourself. But it's the gunmetal green is what they call it. As regards to Šeško, the belief is that apparently RB Leipzig are considering Rasmus as an option to kind of come over and maybe do a job for them, because obviously they need to bring in players over there because Simeons is subject to a Chelsea bid. Obviously, if they lose Benjamin Šeško to us, that's another attacker that has exited. And they see maybe Rasmus as a quick fix, and it could reduce the fee for Šeško to in the region of 50 million for us. So,
yeah. I don't know about that. I mean, if that how deep that is or how true that is, but yeah, that would be nice if we could sort of soften up the deal with finances by offering Rasmus, you know. But I get the feeling Rasmus wants to stay and prove himself. He's got a lot to prove, and I just think he's got that sort of character where he wants to dig in and try his best. He does work hard on the pitch. It's just that talent-wise, he's not really shown he's got anything about him. Even the other day when I was watching him against West Ham, I was getting frustrated with him. His passing, his link-up play, it's just never really on point, you know. He's playing passes not into players' stride and off-key behind them. He's just forcing everything. So I just think he needs to relax a little bit and just maybe this opportunity by not being the first choice anymore, because he has come, to be honest, he's been the first choice striker for the last couple of years. Now Šeško's coming in, if that's the case. He can sit back and try to relax a little bit more with his game. I just think that's all he needs, to relax a bit more and not feel so much pressure at Man United. I was listening to an interview with Steve Bruce the other day, and he was saying when he arrived at Man United, he was training with players like Gordon Strachan and Brian Robson and Paul McGrath, and he said Paul McGrath was immense. He couldn't, and he felt in awe. And he realised when you come to Man United, it's key for everyone. He realised when you come to Man United, you have to perform. The pressure's there. The showtime, the players, the cameras are on you, and the fan channels and just the media. You have to perform. You can't shy away. There's no way to hide at Man United. So bring it on.
Yeah. I think though, if this deal gets concluded and concluded as rapidly as the media are suggesting that might be the case, I think he'll be getting advice from his agents. Coincidentally, the same agent that Eric Ten Hag has over there in Bayern Leverkusen, that his opportunities are going to be limited. Bear in mind, Joshua Zirkzee is still at the club. We have a young man by the name of Cheeto that is also at the club. 4 strikers for one position doesn't matter. And I think it's going to be difficult for him to justify staying at United unless he gets some level of assurance that he has a chance to fight his way in there. And given the fact that there's 70 million Zirkzee and we'll say 70 million Šeško, that probably makes it impossible for him. But whatever happens with Rasmus, I think he'd have to kind of sit down and really look at what levels of opportunity he's going to have, because we only have a game a week. There's not going to be an opportunity to play him in a B team per se until a League Cup kind of short fixture. And for the first time in a long time, we're going to be coming in the second round of that League Cup, which is a bit embarrassing in itself, but that's beside the point. But definitely things have been moving, because I think it was only 2 or 3 weeks ago that Fabrizio said there was no contact between Manchester United and RB Leipzig for Šeško. And coincidentally, the second topic is about a goalkeeper. And the reason why this goalkeeper is being linked now is because a lot of the media are saying that the rumours that we had to sell before we had to buy are hogwash. And that we have now decided that we can't afford to wait, and we're moving on with targets and basically forcing those players that are on the peripherals to make decisions. Now, I think this one is a bit of a pipe dream. Champions League winning goalkeeper Donnarumma has been linked with 2 clubs in the Premier League. Chelsea, who are in the Champions League, and Manchester United. And if you're kind of saying to Donnarumma, we got Euro, we got Heaven, we got De Ligt, we got Maguire, we've got Martinez, we're getting another 6/8. You've got Kobe, you've got Ugarte, and then you got Bruno, Mbumo, Cunha, and Šeško. All of a sudden, does that look like a completely different project to come into than the starting 11 that we had last year, for example?
Well, first of all, I think Donnarumma has proven he's a young goalkeeper. He's come up through the ranks at AC Milan, quite young, and then he left, went to PSG, and he's, when you're young, you've got to make mistakes. He has made a few mistakes, but he was immense in the European Championships with the penalty shootout. He's very tall, and what I've noticed with tall goalkeepers, they find it hard to get down low, but I've seen him make some really good saves down low. He's got a lot of character as well. I mean, they just won the Champions League with PSG, and that's why I'm confused. I think, why is he making moves? Why would he want to make moves and leave PSG? What's the issue there? It can't be for money. PSG pay good money, but there must be. I'm sure we'll find out what the reason is before about that, or is it just a case where he wants to get a new contract and doesn't feel valued for some reason at PSG? This is what players do sometimes. So I'm not taking that too seriously. I think he's a good goalkeeper with potential for growth, because he's quite young still, and I'd love to take him clearly, but I'm just a bit dubious, Rebel, about him, because one, why we want to leave PSG after just winning Champions League, and he's kind of at that top level. PSG are great, but they're saying they want him now. They want the other guy because they're just saying we're not messing about. If you want the contract talks or you want to be valued more, Donnarumma, don't try and play that game with us. We're going to get another goalkeeper. So it's just like a bit of bluffing going on here, I believe. I could be wrong, but I'm just speculating. I just think it could be bluffing. And if they do want this other goalkeeper and they know Donnarumma's going to leave, or maybe they need to balance the books in some way, then yeah, fair enough. But I just think it would be a loss because Donnarumma, it appears to me that he's one of the better goalkeepers out there. And there's not many great goalkeepers out there, to be honest, in my opinion. I don't think he's great with his feet, but he's got a good presence about him. And we would be better off for him with the kind of goalkeeper situation we have at the moment. And so would Chelsea, because Chelsea are struggling with Sanchez. I don't think he's good enough. They need someone. And the goalkeeper, as you know, Rebel, once you get a good goalkeeper in, with Alisson going to Liverpool, with Schmeichel coming to Man United and changing our fortunes, and Van der Sar doing the same, coming to United and changing our fortune in 07, 08, it makes a huge difference. So if we can get him in, great. If not, we keep sniffing around.
Yeah, no, the only reason I could think, no, not just for United purposes, that Donnarumma would leave Paris Saint-Germain is that he has won the French League, he has won the French Cup, he has won the Champions League with them now. Maybe the lure of challenging himself in the Premier League is something that appeals to them. Now, Bart did raise kind of something that I was going to talk about later on, but he has kind of had a history of falling out. AC Milan, his boyhood club, he didn't leave under the best circumstances. So you could argue that's a mark against him, but Cunha has also been said to have been an agitator, that he can throw a strap. But these are passionate players that probably want to drive their career and kind of, maybe he wants to establish himself as one of the best to ever do it and win leagues everywhere he goes. It's more than likely that Chelsea would probably be the better landing spot for him at this current time. And then maybe we have our hearts set on the means, as who was the Lynx said to us there earlier on. But it does fill me with some bit of minuscule optimism that we are moving on in transfers, because I thought that in Mbeumo, with the length that we took to get him done, that might have been the last serious transfer that we got done. Šeško, a mid, and Lamines, and all of a sudden that window went from being a 3-4 out of 10 in terms of what it does for the squad to being an 8-9 out of 10. But there hasn't been too many midfielders linked with us. Like that Pullman's rumour that came across yesterday in the BBC, that has died a death today. It hasn't been mentioned anywhere else. But obviously, the news of the day, Benjamin Šeško, a team was sent out secretly to Germany. They have been doing negotiations in the background. And I want to get your view on the reaction from the Newcastle fans. They seem to think that they're cursed this season. Every single player that they tried to bring in, João Pedro, Delap, Ekitike, Trafford, Mbeumo, Cunha, and now Šeško, have all headed or are likely to head in other directions. What does that say if you're on the receiving end of constant rebuffs like that to you as a club? Does it kind of justify pessimism?
Not really. I think they got used to it. Newcastle's kind of isolated, isn't it? In this, in the northeast, it's quite far away from anything. As they've done with their project. Now, if you look at their project, they got some wealthy owners, and you expect them just to buy everybody who's a big name, but they haven't gone about their business like that because they felt that they could just attract English or homegrown or Premiership players and bring them in like that, or get someone like Isaac, and who was at Real Sociedad, and bring him in. That was a good scoop. They got the Brazilian in midfield, Joe Lilton as well. He's there. So they haven't gone out and spent money on like superstars. because they understand where they're located, it's always going to be difficult. So the way they've gone about the business, I think, has been very impressive. Ever since their manager arrived there, they've really turned their form around. So he's shown he's a good manager, and they've bought signings. You got Jacob Murphy killing it for them, who was a former Norwich twin with his twin, and no one expects him to be playing Champions League football or being the player he is, but he works really hard. So these are the kind of characteristics they're looking for if you're going to play for Newcastle United. The whole culture there with the club at the moment is you need to work hard. They're combative. They fight for each other. And if you're a superstar, I don't think it would be the right balance for a superstar player to come in there right now. The fact that they've missed out on signings this year is just based on, I think, there's more attraction when you're competing. João Pedro wanted to go Chelsea. It's in London, for example. You've got Mbeumo, Man United or Newcastle. Even though Newcastle are in Europe, Man United are a bigger club. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I just think they're always going to be, until they make themselves a giant and win leagues and Champions Leagues, they're always going to struggle based on their location and the actual culture of the club that they're showing right now.
There hasn't been a whole pile of extra transfer news, but we are going to be playing Bournemouth tonight in our next pre-season game. Who are you expecting to see kind of enhance their performance in terms of what we've seen so far in the Premier League? The Premier League pre-season plate or whatever they're calling it, Shield. Who do you want to see kind of step up a bit more in this game from the last one?
It's not about players. I just want to see more. What impressed me the most about the West Ham game, forget the league game, what impressed me most about the West Ham game was the way we went about our business. We were organised. That was the main thing. We set traps from teams stopping them playing out. And we really, if you look at it in more detail, it shows that the players are fit, they're hungry, and they're willing to follow instruction. And I want to see more of the same of that. Bournemouth, very good team. They work really hard for one another, and last few seasons they've been punching above what they should be because of their performances. So it'd be a really good test to see if we can put our system, impose our style of play and our aggression with the way we jump and go man to man when we're pinning them in. It'd be interesting to see if we can do that against Bournemouth. They don't have electric pace, so I think there's less risk to do that. And they're a Premiership team, and one thing we know about them, they'll be very fit. So we need to maintain these levels for a long time. And I think the difference for me, Rebel, would be with all the chances we created against West Ham, I would like us to see us actually scoring 3 or 4 goals based on the chances we create. If we can do that, make a huge statement once again, more of a statement than we made in the West Ham game, where I know people are saying, it's only a friendly. But I was really super impressed by the way we approached the game and the preparation that we've had. It showed a lot during that game. So I'm looking forward to it. I might even wake up in the morning and take it in live.
Here's the interesting question, and Lynx has actually mentioned his name just as I was coming to him. I was looking at some of the predicted 11s. Obviously, we know Cunha and Fernandez are going to be in the 10s because I believe Mbeumo was not expected to play until the 3rd pre-season game over there, which is the weekend, I believe, isn't it? Oh no, is this the 2nd or 3rd pre-season game? I'm losing count.
This will be our 3rd pre-season game.
So yeah, Mbeumo was probably due to see some minutes off the bench, more than likely. But Bindair, the much criticised second choice goalkeeper at Manchester United Football Club. We're in a period where we want our centre-backs to be kind of confident of what's sitting behind them. So, whether it's De Ligt, Yoro, I think they're expecting Shaw to get a few minutes sitting in the left side of centre-back this time. Whether it's Martinez, Evan, Maguire, whoever it is. If we bring in a new goalkeeper, it means that essentially the first game he's going to play for us would possibly be that it's a Florentino we're playing in our last pre-season game. But how critical is that we won't have seen our likely number one playing behind our defensive unit. Do you reckon that could come back to bite us in the first 5 games?
No, I don't think so at all. I think that when you're organising a defence, obviously, they talked about the back five of Arsenal, the famous back five, which included the goalkeeper. Goal is very important, but I think what you want to be in a situation where everyone can come in and know exactly what they're supposed to be doing in their position. So whether it's the goalkeeper, whether it's the left centre back, central centre back, right centre back, the wing backs, whoever comes into play, with the training and intensity that we're putting into these pre-season, everyone should now know how to fulfill that role when they play. So we might think that a lesser goalkeeper, we might think the Turk is a lesser goalkeeper, but at least he knows he's been trained, he's a professional, which means his whole life is dedicated to Man United Football Club to perform in this. So he can perform the role. He might be able to talk good. He might understand what he's supposed to be doing. And that's the main thing. So anyone coming into side should know their role. That's the most important thing. And by this point, with Bayende, he's been there a while now. I don't have any concerns about him playing against Bournemouth or even starting the season for us, because it gives him confidence. He's not a bad goalkeeper. There's nothing terrible about him. But I just feel that we haven't seen enough of him. Like we had when De Gea and Henderson went at the club. We kept up to change our mind. De Gea wasn't performing. Bringing Henderson ended up being the first teamer until there was an issue with go around to start the season. So there is an opportunity there for him. Let's see what Bayende's got, and he's got an opportunity in these games now to really prove himself. So I'm going to back him and say, you got an opportunity, do the business. If you don't, that's on him. So you can't say he didn't know what he was doing, because it's drilled into every single player where he's supposed to be, what he's supposed to do on and off the ball, how he's supposed to build up the play, where he's supposed to pass the ball, where your defender's supposed to be. It's a whole unified thing. So I don't have any issues with that.
Yeah. I suppose time will tell as to what way our starting 11 kind of takes shape once everybody gets on board and once that transfer window finally does shut its doors. But it has been a quiet day in terms of Manchester United news. There will be a bit to talk about in terms of that pre-season performance in the show tomorrow. I am going to plug these one last time because we do really want to give away these shirts, and we can only do it with your help. So we're starting with the road to 4K. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button. Totally free, but boy, does it help the channel and help us kind of keep the show on the road. So if you would be so kind, whether you're over there in the Twitterverse or watching us on YouTube, if you could just take a minute of your time to come over to the Man United Agenda YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and obviously that then gives you a chance to win that shirt. And then the second jersey is for the members. It's literally the price of 2 feathers to get into the entry tier of the Man United Agenda membership. And once we get to our target membership, that means then that Colin will be coming on to the stream and he will be telling you what day the Wheel of Fortune will be spun, and one of you will walk away with a signed, authenticated Robson jersey. It's our way of giving back to you for supporting the channel. But Yaba, it's been a bit short and sweet, but I am going to give you the opportunity to do your first score prediction of the season.
You know what? You know what's happening? I've seen a lot of ads coming out now where with this chat GPT and this AI technology, they're worried. A lot of gamblers, betting firms are worried because they're saying these AI generated things will generate a league table. They'll generate, they've got betting apps now where they tell you results. There was a betting app the other day that an AI thing that predicted we beat West Ham 2-1 based on all the data, So maybe we should look look to AI to sort of predict our results and everything else. I don't know, Rebel. I just want us to win. I think we can win. I think we can win quite comfortably by 3 goals. So I would say a 3-0 win would be perfect for me. I just want to see us capitalise on all the hard work we put in against West Ham. We need to continue that, maintain that, and I think we can show that we're not the team that we thought we were last season in the bottom half of the table. I think we can show the real quality that we've got and give fans a little boost by beating West Ham like we did, and now going on to beat Bournemouth and put them to the sword. So I'm going to say 3-0.
I'm going to put a little bit of different out there because, as you know, I like to stir the pot. And part of me would love to see Rasmus Højlund bagging a goal, so Mr. B has to come on tomorrow and talk about his beautiful goal. But all jokes aside, what I want to see is some bit of gelling, because I don't want to be looking at our table next May and thinking, are we going to get to 40 points in the league? Because that a second season of 15th, 16th place would be absolutely heartbreaking to deal with. As for tonight, pre-season's a bit like silly season. It could go any way. Bournemouth have lost players. We are not currently operating with our preferred starting 11. I would like to see someone other than Bruno click in terms of the goal contributions, because we cannot rely on one player to be the commander-in-chief for creating and scoring goals. I think a couple of the lads mentioned Cunha, whether it was an assist or a goal, they'd like to see him involved in one. I would share that sentiment. I would like to see a bit of our new signing in Mbeumo, but only if he's fit enough. Like, I do not want to risk players, because if you remember, last year we lost Yoro in the stupid friendly to Arsenal in pre-season. The year before, I think it was Kobe we lost, wasn't it, in the stupid friendly to... So I want us to come through pre-season without any major injuries to any of our players. But time will tell. This has been the United Agenda. It has been a quite short show, but we'll always be back if there's more news. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Good night.